Welcome to the Arkansas Cattle Business Podcast, brought to you by the Arkansas Cattlemen's Association. Here, we dive into the heart of Arkansas's cattle industry, where legislation, education, advocacy, and development come together to support the hardworking cattle producers of the natural state. Whether you're in the pasture or on the road, this is your connection to the people, policies, and programs shaping the future of our industry. Hello, and welcome to episode 7 of the Arkansas Cattle Business Podcast.
We were talking just before we started recording. We've almost been doing this for 2 months, so
That's insane. Also, if you're watching online, you will see our new prop. That is courtesy of good Randall Black, except I don't love it because I can't see your face now.
I know, I'm like...
I just realized that, maybe we just do it like this way. I don't know. We'll figure it out. That's a little better.
Yeah, I showed him which he hadn't had the chance to watch, the podcast last week, and I was like, hey, well, by the way, we mentioned you, and he's like, oh, Lord. And so we sat in the office and watched it, and he's like, I got the idea. So he came in here about 20 minutes ago and set this up for us. So
for those of you not watching,
of Randall.
not watching online, we have a brand holding up a cowboy hat.
His hat for the day.
Yeah, his hat for the day.
Some spurs.
We'll have a different hat next week, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
We'll be able to do that for a while. Probably 2 years.
A while.
2 years of the number of hats he owns. But anyways, so yes, welcome to the podcast. Almost 2 months in, and we really appreciate it. We had a gentleman tell me the other night at the area conference, he stopped me. He said, "Oh, I watch your podcast. I just love it." And dadgum if it just does not make you feel good to be able to hear that. And so thank you to him.
Yes.
We really appreciated it. It just makes me smile that it's work, yes, to put this on, and we know it serves good purpose, but it's nice to be able to hear that it's getting listened to, and there are real humans behind the numbers that I look at on the screen.
Yes. Yeah. And I went to a county meeting last week, and they're like, oh my gosh, I listened to your podcast. I'm like, this is awesome. This is always kind of been a dream of mine to kind of start one. I thought I'd never do it, but here we are.
Here we are. Little did you know, the cattlemen's would have the Arkansas Cattle Business Podcast.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
Well, we appreciate it. I feel like I haven't seen you all week, really, minus area conferences. So this also feels like we're just gonna catch up on what's happened. So y'all get to catch up with us. So we're really excited.
Even though we stay in the truck all the time, but we were on calls the whole time, so we don't get to actually talk to each other.
Or I was typing on my computer as Norley was driving down the road at 11 o'clock at night.
Yep.
Yeah. So
it's good times. Good times. We love it.
Yeah, we love travel season. It's wonderful. But yeah, we can hop in and try to recap this whole adventurous, exciting, event-filled week.
Yeah, so let's kick off Hats on the Hill. So, what happened this week?
Yeah, I'm going to start with a confession. There were two different days this week at the Capitol that the hat wasn't there. So, I'm sorry. I apologize. Everyone from the security guards to the senators did notice that I didn't have my hat. As soon as I walked in the door, the security guard at the metal detector was like, "Where's the hat?" It's a 50-mile-an-hour winds outside. I could not, in fact, wear it.
It was quite windy earlier this week.
Yeah, it was going to be rough. And then Thursday, today, the day we're recording this, Thursday, you'll hopefully be watching it later. But on Thursday, I went to the Capitol. I was not really planning on going and had some things change, and so I left my hat here at the office, and it was not on the way to stop. And so, 2 different weeks. But it was okay. People still recognized me. They still had the cattlemen's. It just was not the hat, and so it felt weird. I had to tell somebody, I was like, I kind of feel naked without this. I feel like I'm missing a very vital part of myself, which I never thought I would say about a hat. And so with that, I kind of alluded to the fact I've been at the Capitol quite a bit this week. I think I've gone pretty much every day this week, which is not normally the case. Normally we hit the front end of the week pretty heavy, and then the legislature kind of falls off a little bit towards the end. Not the case this week. It has been a lot of meetings, a lot of conversations, a lot of discussion, which we'll get into here in a bit. But they have had a very, very busy week on a lot of different fronts, not all of them pertaining to agriculture. There have been some hot debates, hot topics. 4-H Day was at the Capitol this week, so there were 700 youth at the Capitol. almost 700 youth at the Capitol. Lots of green. Very exciting to see the future of agriculture turn out in such force, especially it was on Tuesday and it was pouring down rain and windy and stormy, and I just felt so sorry for those kids, but they showed up, they showed out, they did agriculture proud, and it was really exciting to see them there and to see the elected officials interacting with the youth and interacting with the future of agriculture. They have represented us well, and it was just really exciting, really heartwarming, and I don't want to use exciting again. I'm trying to think of a better word, but words are hard after this week. But it was just very inspiring, I guess, would be a better word, to see so many youth turning out, willing to brave the storm and be there to share the story of agriculture.
Yeah. I remember that was one of my favorite days as a 4-H'er. I think I got to go like twice when they started it, so
yeah, I mean,
it's a pretty fun time.
I had a lot. I mean, we had a lot to do, a lot of moving parts when we had 20 people at the Capitol the week before. I cannot imagine 650 something youth at the Capitol. Way to go, University of Arkansas System Division of Agriculture, like extension agents, like the youth, the parents, the youth leaders, like all of them. Great job. Way to handle all of the kids and all of the moving parts. That is an event at the Capitol, but it was a great turnout, really exciting. So that was a big thing that happened this week. We had a lot of focus on agriculture, and within that event specifically, but not necessarily a lot of other conversations. It was so exciting to just see them and for them to learn and pop in committee rooms. And I honestly, I mean, I was standing in the rotunda for quite a few minutes and just saw senators and representatives walking up and seeking out their county. They all had these little signs that would say like, "Oh, Independence County," or Jefferson County, and their representative or their senator would find them and seek them out. And so it meant a lot to see that they were actively engaging in those conversations and wanting to see and discuss and learn about agriculture from these kids. So kudos to them. I was jealous. I wish I could have gone back in time and been with those 4-H'ers for sure, for maybe not that day in the pouring rain, but it would have been a really cool event, I bet, as a youth. So
it was.
Yeah, a little jealous I didn't get to do that. But that was a big thing that happened at the Capitol this week for sure.
Yeah. So speaking of Tuesday, I know Tuesday was a big day. They were supposed to talk about Senate Bill 290. Is there any update for that?
Yeah, so unfortunately there is not a big update for Senate Bill 290, and so to remind everybody, that is what I lovingly call the moratorium on moratoriums. It is the bill that is addressing and saying that the power to create a permitting moratorium needs to be with the legislature and with the with the House and Senate Ag Committee specifically, instead of with a state agency. And it gives any existing moratoriums the opportunity to come before the Senate Ag and the House Ag Committee and discuss and debate and fight for the moratoriums that are in existence. And so it's the one that has a lot of controversy, has a lot of debate, a lot of discussion, a lot of misinformation out there about it. For us, for the Cattlemen's, it is a legislative process. It is a private property rights issue. We believe that power should be in the hands of the people that are elected by Arkansans. We should be able to say and hold them accountable on these issues. And so, as opposed to currently where it sits in a state agency. And so that bill was not heard this week, so we don't have an update for you necessarily officially on that bill. Lots of discussions in the hallways about it, lots of conversations that we've been having, a lot of preparation we've been doing on behalf of that bill and preparing to speak on behalf of that bill, but no movement necessarily in committee. And so we will be keeping an eye out. We are, as of right now, we're hoping that we're being told that it'll be run on Tuesday. So maybe we'll have an update next week, but we'll see. We'll find out.
So it was supposed to be on the agenda this week. So if it's on the agenda, why doesn't it run?
Great question. Yeah, it was on the agenda this week. Quite a few people showed up to speak against the bill, to speak for the bill, and they did not have that opportunity. The bill did not get discussed. So a big part of the reason. One, it's at the chair's discretion. And so the chair of the Senate Ag Committee, or any committee, has the ability to say, these are this is the bills that are going to run, this is these things. A lot that gets taken into consideration is the sponsor in the room? Is industry in the room? Are the people here that need to be here? Are all of the appropriate parties going to be available? And that was a big piece of some other bills that were going this week that did not move either. And so, but for this bill, specifically for Senate Bill 290, the sponsor, Senator Blake Johnson, on the Senate side, obviously, chairs a very, right now, popular committee that meets at 10 o'clock on Tuesdays. And the Senate Ag Committee meets at 10 o'clock on Tuesdays. And so Senator Johnson was in a different, was chairing his committee and had quite the debate, quite the discussion there. And so he was not able to, he was hoping he may be able to step out in time and make it over to the Senate Ag room, but that just was not the case this week. And so I think there's some provisions in place next week for him to make sure that he's able to come here, because Senator Caldwell, the chair of the Senate Ag Committee, made the point this week on Tuesday that a lot of people have been coming down to the Capitol and filling the committee rooms and wanting to provide their insight, provide their input on this bill, and they haven't been given that opportunity. And so, not because anyone's been holding out or been trying to fight anything, it's just it's a timing thing a lot of time in this instance. And so it's been very interesting, but Senator Caldwell did specify that he would like to be able to make the most of everyone's time there and be able to hear this bill on Tuesday, or it will move to a deferred list. And so we'll see kind of what's going on there and keep everyone updated. But that's that's a piece specifically for this bill of why it did not move. It was mainly because the sponsor was not available. You do have the ability, you can have someone else run your bill for you, because honestly, that happens a lot. There's a lot of times where you're in a different committee, or you're chairing a different committee, or you have another meeting, or you have something else is overlapping with this, and so you can have someone else run your bill. But when it's a bill as contentious as SB290, and with as much misinformation out there as SB290, and as important as SB290, I understand and respect Senator Johnson's decision to want to run his own bill. And so that's, you'll see a lot of times is, well, why don't we ever run into this problem before? We do quite a lot. It happens quite a lot. And so that's the hard part, and the exciting part, I won't say fun, but the entertaining part, I guess, of the Capitol is that it's always a little unknown. It always feels like a little bit of a hurry up and wait. Like, yes, while we have an agenda, there may be a senator or a representative that gets stuck in a meeting and can't make their way over and speak on behalf of their own bill. And so they'll either text one of their colleagues or ask them to speak for it, or it'll just get pushed to the next week. So it's a long-winded explanation of that one, and a little bit about how that process works. And so we had a lot of our members ask us, they're like, well, do you know for sure it's going to run? No. The answer is always no. We are never positive. We're not positive it's going to run on Tuesday. We are hopeful. And so we have had conversations along those lines as well. But that is a lot of the way of how the process is, and how the old saying of like that's how the sausage is made. Like, yeah, that's how it is. Like, it's a lot of, hey, you need to be available at a moment's notice, but also your entire day can be changed in the blink of an eye at the moment's notice there at the Capitol. And so it keeps us on our toes, for sure. I used to Cody Burkham, if you're listening to this, I used to make fun of you because I was always like, we'd be doing area conferences. I was like, Cody's like, well, I don't know. He's like, I may have to drive separately because I may have to come back and go to the Capitol. I'm like, Cody, how do you not know? How do you not know if you're going, like, you need to be at the Capitol the next day?
Eating your words.
I'm eating my words. I regret making fun of him all of those days and all of those years of not knowing, because now I fully see and fully grasp that you're at the mercy of the calendar, and at the mercy, which only has to come out 24 hours in advance, and you're at the mercy of the timing at the Capitol. And so, yeah, sorry. Really sorry for making fun of you for all those years. So I have now seen the light.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know what I thought it was, but it was not that. Yeah, I've learned. It's fine.
It's fine. It'll buff. It'll buff
So
out.
they say, like, oh, you're paying for your raising. And I'm like, oh, yeah, kind of. Like, not exactly, but, like, I feel like that. I'm like, oh, yeah, I made fun of him for so long, and now I have to do the exact thing. I told him earlier, it's like, hey, I may or may not. Like, we'll have to figure out, like, play Monday by ear for your conferences. Like, we'll just have to see. So,
It's very interesting trying to plan everything out, because you kind of have to plan everything out. But then she's like, since we'll be in Northwest Arkansas next week, she's like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I hate it. I absolutely, I love a planner. I love a calendar. I love being able to do that. And so having that flexibility is one thing that I'm definitely learning here in the legislature. Working with the legislature is having that flexibility and just being available. Like this, for example, this morning, I wasn't planning on Thursday. Like, I was not planning on going down to the Capitol. I was going to watch everything online, and here I am, if you're watching, in a suit jacket and dress pants. So obviously went to the Capitol. And so it was a great time. I mean, I really love it, really enjoy it. It's just, okay, that's not what I had planned, and that's all right. And our listeners, I'm sure, can understand that and appreciate that as well, as they do a lot of the same things in agriculture. It's, you always have something planned, and then cows get out, fence breaks, water, all the things can happen. And so patience is not my strong suit, but I'm working on it. We're getting there.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
So, since there wasn't any movement on the SB290, is there anything else we've been watching? Anything that else popped up?
Yeah, so we've been talking quite a bit about taxes, and we're going to continue to. I feel like this whole session is all about taxes. It feels like. And so one of the bills that has been introduced that I have not, we didn't talk about last week, but I want to make sure we hit on this week, is HB1594. And that is a tax exempt card for agriculture. It is I didn't print it. I thought I printed everything, but that's fine. It is, Representative Vaught is running this bill. And essentially, it is exactly what it sounds like. It would be creating a tax-exempt card for agriculture. And so currently, that does not exist in this state. There is not one piece of paper. There's an application that you can fill out, but there is not a carryable card for you to say, hey, I am in agriculture. I have tax-exempt status on certain items. And so this bill that Representative Vaught has introduced would actually create that card and be able to say, hey, here you go. What that card looks like is up in the air. Is it a scan? It would be, ideally, would be a scannable card, kind of like your driver's license. And so kind of seeing what feasibility is there on creation and cost and everything else. And so that's a big piece of that bill, is looking at the cost of it, because anything dealing with taxes, if you remember, if you've been watching along with the other 6 episodes, anything to deal with a fiscal impact that's going to have an effect on the bottom line budget goes to the Tax and Revenue Committee. So this bill will end up in Tax and Revenue, or has ended up. It's been on the agenda in Tax and Revenue, but has not been discussed yet. And so looking at it, the fiscal impact for this bill would be incredibly small to the state of Arkansas. And so we're hoping to be able to see some movement and excitement and positive progress on that, even though most bills that have a fiscal impact right now are not. They may be discussed, but they're not voted on in Tax and Revenue because of the fact that we don't necessarily have a budget. We don't necessarily know what money we have to spend. We can't cut money until we have money. And so that's one of the big bills that we've been working with and keeping an eye on. Really grateful to Representative Vaught for putting that bill together. And what it does is it protects the farmer, yes, makes it easier for them to get that tax-exempt status. I don't know if you've ever gone to a farm store and you bought something that technically probably should have been tax-exempt, but sometimes the store won't ask. They won't offer, they won't make it tax exempt because technically right now they are liable. And so if they make something tax exempt and I'm just buying it for my backyard horse and not for an agriculture farm, then they could be held liable. And so they don't they don't even want to risk it a lot of times. And so what this bill does is give a piece of paper, give a card to a farmer, somebody that has a true agricultural production operation that can then use it at the farm store, at the feed store on certain agricultural products, and just present it every time and make it where they're protected, the farmer or the store is protected, and they can save some money.
So how are items currently exempted?
Yeah, so currently you kind of have to know what is and what isn't tax exempt and ask the store, because again, like, they're not always. Some of them are really great. A lot of your local co-ops are wonderful and amazing, and will say, hey, you're buying fertilizer, you're buying feed, is this for an agricultural operation? If you're buying a certain amount, probably. If you're coming in and buying one bag, debatable, like, they could be curious, but if you're buying a certain amount, it's going to be pretty obvious that you're making a living or have a production operation. And so right now it's kind of up in the air. It's kind of up to each feed store, up each store of what they do. And so there's a lot of people that pay taxes on items that are technically tax exempt. And so they don't know to ask, or they ask and the store's like, well, I don't want to risk it. I don't want to put myself at a danger here. And so they just don't necessarily offer or honor it. And so this would put a lot of clarity, a lot of rule, regulation, and ability behind hey, I applied for a card, I was eligible for a card, I received a tax-exempt card, here's my tax-exempt card. And so that helps a lot more, rather than just taking people at their word or filling out a form online with DFNA that sometimes doesn't always get approved or move through the process very quickly. And so this would be an actual, tangible, like I said, license-esque type card. I don't know that anyone's ever. I think actually someone has actually drawn one, but I have not drawn one of here's what it would look like. But we're envisioning probably a scannable card that'll be able to help out, and you'll have. Again, it just takes out some of the questions, some of the clarity, takes out some of the responsibility. As long as you have that and present it, then the store can say, okay, well, these things are eligible for tax exempt, these things aren't. Whereas right now, you kind of just have to be like, hey, I think this is tax exempt, right? Like, is it? There's a lot of question marks in the process right now. So this helps to hopefully alleviate some of those.
So what are some of the items that are tax exempt?
Yeah, luckily I did print that one off because there's quite a list, actually, surprisingly. And so there's a lot of things that are unknown. So I'm not going to read off of this entirely, but some of the agriculture exemptions are going to be the sales of raw agricultural products, the sales of livestock, the agricultural machinery and equipment, seed to be used in the commercial agriculture production, feedstuffs, fertilizer, limestone, and chemicals and pesticides. Excuse me. I've been talking a lot this week and I'm losing my voice. Agricultural wrapping products, which are going to be your hay net wrap and things like that. And then livestock reproduction equipment are some of the agriculture livestock focused exemptions. And so that there are quite a few things in there that I feel like probably not a lot of people realize are tax exempt and are paying money that they don't necessarily have to be paying. They'd be saving that a little bit. No, I feel like everybody kind of knows about the hay net wrap. We talk about that one quite a bit because that is a very specific exemption to livestock. Not everybody's out here feeding hay, and so it's a very very specific one. But I mean, even the livestock reproduction equipment is one that people don't necessarily realize or think about. And so this will make it, again, just answer some of those answer some of those questions and provide some clarification for it.
Yeah, for sure. So, switching gears here, is there an update on the Corporate Transparency Act?
Our favorite thing.
Whoa.
We've talked about it. We've been 7 episodes. I feel like I've talked about this in over half of the episodes. And each time I'm like, it's so complicated. There's been 8,000 movements.
There's a lot going on with it.
There is. So if you don't know, again, the Corporate Transparency Act, it was the rule coming down from, because it's going to be enforced by FinCEN, by financial institutions. They're saying that you need to report your beneficial ownership. And if you did not, there was quite a sizable fee fine that was going to be imposed if you did not report that. And it was if you have LLCs or other certain legal entities were built, which a lot of our producers are, and you have fewer than 20 employees, which again, most of our farms probably have fewer than 20 employees. So it's going to affect agriculture and small businesses pretty heavily, which was not the intent of this legislation from 2021. The intent was to prevent money laundering was the real intent there, and to protect the United States. And so it's had injunctions, it's been moving through the courts, it's been all of these things. So finally, maybe, potentially, possibly but I'm not even going to say it. Not going to be the final update. So as of this week, March the 3rd, the U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent went out and said we are going to suspend enforcement of the Corporate Transparency Act and limit the scope of the law to protect family farms and ranches from excessive regulations. And so they've been, like we talked about, they've been subject to litigation. There's been all kinds of questions. And so what is currently the case is that we are not I will say most, I'm not going to use the word all here, but most family farms, most agriculture entities of producer entities, let's specify, will be exempt from this. But again, I am not a tax professional. Please consult your tax professional to see if maybe the way that your legal entity is set up, you may be required to fill this out. But most family farms are going to be exempt from the CTA here. They will not be enforcing it, and they will not be providing penalties for farmers and ranchers and small businesses within this. So, very exciting news there for the Corporate Transparency Act. And so, yeah, really grateful for the work from our national affiliate and our federal delegation on that. I know it's been a very big question mark because, I mean, like I said, those fines were like $20,000, $25,000, and that's a lot.
It's a lot.
That is a lot of money for a family farm to pay just for not filling out a piece of paper. Mm-hmm. So really grateful for President Trump and his work and the Treasury Secretary for realizing the implications of this. While we want to protect the United States and prevent money laundering, we also want to protect our producers from these fines. So very exciting time there for us on that federal win for sure.
Yeah. So that is our Hats on the Hill update for this week. This week we're going to do something different, kind of like we did last week. This week was our first week of area conferences, which was really fun. We went down to Area 3 and Area 4, Hope, and Mount Ida, so it was a fun time.
It was a fun time. It was the first year we'd been to Mount Ida for an area conference in a long time, at least. I believe Montgomery County said they'd never hosted it, so
cool.
Feel like that might be safe to say is that they
did a good job.
It was the first time we've been to Mount Ida for an area conference, so it was great. We really got to see maybe some different members than we normally see. That area is normally in DeQueen, Nashville area, and so they kind of transfer between those two, so it was nice to be able to see some members we don't get to see normally.
Yeah.
So it was great. So what happened? What was going on at our? So we were, like you said, we Mount Ida on Monday, and then we went to Hope on Tuesday. So what did these conferences? What do they look like?
Yeah. So our first one was at a church. It was really cool. We got to go in, and FFA, Mount Ida FFA came and helped. And what was really cool about that is my friend that graduated with me, she's an ag teacher there. So it was really fun to catch up with her. Her kids helped out. And so they just came, vendors came, set up, and then people just started filing in and networking and talking. And it was fun to just see people that you've met before and haven't met, and
or you've talked to on the phone.
On the phone a lot. Yeah. So it was just cool to talk to everybody, just see new faces and old faces, and it's just nice to get out and talk to people.
Yeah, the other cool piece of it for me was the sides. So we provide the steaks. We show up, we cook steaks. Our leadership team cooks steaks from the ACA, but the county or the area provides the sides and the desserts and things like that. And so Montgomery County actually worked with Caddo Valley and got their youth culinary program. So these were students. I don't know.
Wasn't it the FCCLA?
I think so.
Yeah.
So I don't know the actual full. I don't know. If, I think it was
Family and Consumer Sciences.
Yeah, I was like, I think it was.
Yep.
But I do know they were students from Caddo Valley that have a catering program and have a catering company, and they catered all the sides.
It was really cool. They came early. They were working. They were putting together the sides and everything, and they served everything. They put together the plates and just was like, here's your food. So they did a great job. It was really cool to see them and everything. So
yeah, and then Tuesday night we went to Hope. We were at the University of Arkansas in Hope, Texarkana. So we were in Hempstead Hall. It's a gorgeous venue, perfect place, wonderful place to have area conferences. And so we were able to, again, visit with our vendors, visit with our members. And we had a lot of our student members or collegiate members from Southern Arkansas University.
Yeah.
That came over and helped serve along with Hempstead County Cattlemen's. And so, again, I mean, thank you to both of the area VPs.
Yes, we could not do that without y'all's help, for sure. Because I know us three, we're running around trying to do everything, and it's nice to have people like, hey, what do you need help with? I'm like, thank you.
Yes. Yeah, and it's nice for them to have it planned out and say, hey, like, these people are going to serve, there's this. And so it's great also for the youth, the college kids, and I feel like they're still kind of youth. I'm not a college kid, is what we'll end that with. And then the high school students to be able to come and see and interact and network as well with the cattle producers and be able to see people in the industry and learn from them, along with meeting with and networking with the vendors. So it's a great opportunity for them. Plus, I mean, who doesn't love a free steak dinner, especially when you're in high school or in college? I feel like it's a top-notch time. Along with, I mean, heck, even our members really, really enjoyed the steak dinners. And so, again, those are cooked by our leadership team. We're really, really grateful for them and their willingness to travel with us, along with our vendors and our sponsors, for making these events possible. This year, we're sponsored by Farm Credit and the Cattlemen's Education Series grant from NCBA and the National Corn Growers. So that grant, both of those sponsorships have allowed us to do a producer panel each night instead of a paid sponsor speaker. And so it was a wonderful time. I mean, I'm obviously biased, and so, but I think it was really well received. It was very relatable. It was just a great addition, a great change to the area conferences from what we've had in the past.
It was kind of a conversation piece as well, not just, this is going to sound bad, being talked at versus asking questions and having those questions answered that you would have as a producer. It feels
interactive, even though they may not be the ones asking questions.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, it's more conversational, for sure. I could see that. One of my favorite pieces of advice that was shared was from Dalton Jackson in Pike County. When asked for his advice, he said, pray hard, work harder. And I was like, well, that's it. That's the whole night. We can be done. That's the entirety of everything for the cattlemen. for cattle producers, it feels like. And so it was great to see. And I mean, each person that were on those panels, I mean, we cannot thank you enough. And a lot of times cattle producers are such humble people. Every single person was like, well, are you sure? Like, you want me to speak? Like, you want... Yes, we want you to share your experience. It doesn't matter if you're just starting out. It doesn't matter if you have 20 cows, if you have 200 cows. You represent a portion of the Cattlemen's Association, and we want our producers and our members to hear from you. And so it's a great opportunity for them to share that knowledge and that expertise. I even had an extension specialist walk up to me and tell me, she's like, all right, well, they did my job, so I can just go. She's like, they've covered everything. She's like, they've been doing a great job. So really looking forward to those panels. Really enjoyed the two we had. Thank you to our panelists and to our area VPs who set that up and helped plan it. We absolutely are grateful for that educational piece of it.
And what's cool is each panel isn't the same. Like Monday night, we had a producer profitability talk. Well, then Tuesday, it was kind of a direct-to-consumer conversation, which was really cool. So come to more than one conference if you want and hear more information, which is, I think, a really cool aspect about it.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad to see those are being successful and are being well received for sure. The other piece that happens of those is we provided a legislative update. I will say it was probably not as in-depth as what we get here on the podcast, since we just have the time. We want to respect people's time when they come to area conferences. We want to have y'all have time to visit with the vendors, have time to visit with each other, have time to hear the panel and an ACA update. We want to make it worth your while for your drive, however far that is. But we also want to get you out of there on time. Mm-hmm. We want to get you out at a reasonable hour. And so we worked really hard to have these conversations and have these events done by about 8 o'clock, 8:15 the latest maybe, so far. And so we've been successful in that. And so making sure that it's worth your drive, but also we're not here at 10 o'clock at night, 9 o'clock at night trying to wrap these up. And so, yeah. So that maybe kind of if you were on the fence about going or what was happening and you just kind of want to know a little bit more about these area conferences, I mean, hopefully that gives you a little insight into what we're doing and what you have to look forward to, because we have 7 more of these.
Woo.
So if you missed these 2, there's probably one coming to, coming to a town near you. That's what it's going to be. So where are we going next week?
We are going to Huntsville on Monday and Clarksville on Tuesday. So really excited about that, to be going to Northwest Arkansas.
Yeah, it kind of feels like going home for you, I bet.
A little. And you.
Yeah, that's true. I did live there for a bit. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Unfortunately, I won't get to enjoy it. I'll go up there and then come back home.
Come back
to the capital.
Yep.
It's
all the conversations.
Fine. Yeah, it'll be fine. But it's going to be a great time. We'll be at Willowbrook Farm on Monday in Huntsville. Beautiful, gorgeous wedding venue there in Madison County. And then we'll be at the Johnson County Fairgrounds again in Clarksville. It's a great space for us to host the very many people that end up coming. And so, again, the RSVP deadline has for those 2 specifically has passed. But if you're really interested in coming, something came up, you just forgot to call us, reach out to us. We'll see if we can fit you in. We always order a few extra steaks, but we need to know. We would much rather know and see what we can work out, because we can usually make it happen, as long as you're not calling me with like 100 extra people.
Yeah,
we can kind of make something happen.
Yeah, just give us a call and we'll put you down and make sure we just got enough room for you and food.
Always the food. I've had people tell me, like, I don't care if I have to stand. I just want a steak. So always have a room. We just make sure we have food. And so, yeah, so we've got those 2. And then throughout the rest of the month, we'll go to Paragould. We'll go to Batesville. We'll go to Monticello. We'll go to Hot Springs. And we'll go to Conway in that order. Actually. And so, again, if you haven't RSVP'd, it is not too late to RSVP for anything beyond next week. And so give us a call. Let us know how many are coming. We would love to be able to see you in one of those area conferences.
Pretty fun time.
Soon. Yeah, it's a great time. I really enjoy them. Again, that's it's very busy season, very tiring season, especially with going to the Capitol as well on top of it, but very rewarding season, being able to see our members face to face. It's probably my favorite part of it, is just being able to interact with them and hear directly from y'all of, this is what's happening, or this is an issue, or then being able to ask questions. I had a member come up after the conference in Hope and say, like, hey, are you really, like, how do we feel about this? Like, are you really sure about it? Here, I want some more details on this SB290, on these things. And we were able to have a conversation that he probably wouldn't have known about it otherwise. And so he wouldn't have been known to be concerned or to have questions or anything. And so just being able to show y'all what we're working on and share with y'all what we're working on your behalf is my favorite part of these. So these are your first 2 as a staff member.
I know.
So what did you enjoy? What's your favorite part?
I guess all of it. I mean, I like
such a
events.
Cheat answer too.
I know.
All of it.
I just like all the events and just getting to drive around and the places in between and all the things. Yeah. I'm happy-go-lucky anywhere.
Yes, it is nice, and I mean, we're at the office. We get out a good bit going places, but it is just nice to be able to say, hey, I'm going to go see our members. Mm-hmm. We're going to go sit down and visit with them, and you are why we're here. Our members are why the Cattlemen's exists, and so being able to serve y'all literally stakes and everything else, but also just being able to share with y'all and update y'all on here's what we're doing, here's what we're working on your behalf that's a purpose, the entire purpose of these events. We want to educate you, we want to have all of these things, but we want to be able to serve you. And so we encourage you, if you have feedback, if you have thoughts about area conferences, reach out to us, let us know. We'd love to be able to just continue to keep improving these events in the future.
Yep.
I'm going to quit talking. Words are hard.
And another thing, what we're doing at area conferences is we're doing a raffle for a GoBob hay trailer. It's 32 foot. So, yeah.
Yeah, 32 foot inline gooseneck hay trailer.
Yep. We posted about it today on our Facebook if you want to see a picture of it.
On Thursday. Let's specify.
Oh, yes, on Thursday. It is Thursday.
We're still getting used to
the 6th.
Yes, we're still getting used to recording on a different day than we post.
Yes.
We're trying a new thing here.
Yeah, it is. Usually, most of the time we record and post. But
yeah, we're trying a new thing here. So that purpose, like she said, there are $50 tickets. Call us for more information if you would like to put your name on a ticket. I'm saying this very carefully. I'm trying to think. If you'd like to put your name on a ticket, give us a call. Reach out to us. But where else can they call us? Where else can they buy these?
Yeah, call us. Go. We're going to be at area conferences. Mostly buy them there. We will do the drawing at our last area conference, and that will be March 25th. So make sure if you want a chance at this drawing, get it before then.
Yeah. Do they have to be at the area conference to win?
No.
Correct.
No.
They don't have to. If you're curious about this hay trailer, we will have it at all the area conferences, and so you can go and see it and look at it. I mean, it's valued at almost $9,000, and you're paying a $50 chance. And so I think it's a pretty good deal. So we're really excited about it. People really enjoyed the AeroQuip raffle last year, squeeze shoot raffle last year, and so we wanted to change it up a little bit. Our leadership wanted to change it up a little bit and provide this GoBob hay trailer instead. Really grateful for GoBob for working with us on this trailer and this raffle.
So where does that money go to?
That's a great question. And so last year, the money we raised from AeroQuip went specifically to education and development events. So looking at some opportunities to do those items. This year, the money is going to go to, or is earmarked to go to, a new computer system, a new database. A lot of times people use the term computer system, but really what it is a new database. A new membership database. So if you don't know, which you probably wouldn't, and so for your knowledge, our membership database is older than I am. And
it's a little outdated.
Yeah, so it is. It's up there. It's 20, 30 years old. I jokingly say it's older than I am. I think it might be close.
It's 100% older than I am.
Yeah, it's definitely older than you are. And so while it works for us currently, it also limits us drastically. And so we are very limited in what we can do and provide for our counties from that database. And so it just doesn't have the features and the skills that we need because of when it was designed, when it was built. These features and skills weren't necessarily needed. And so as we have grown and as the technology has improved, that database has not. And so we will be able to, hopefully, with this money, with this fundraiser, be able to purchase a new database system, which they're not necessarily cheap. We don't know exactly how much. It really just kind of depends on, we've been shopping multiple databases, and we wanted to make sure that we have the funds to do this without dipping into other educational programming or other funding mechanisms, because we wanted to be able to do those as well. And so we wanted to be able to do both. And so this was the compromise. This was the way to be able to accomplish both, to be able to support all the things we want to support and continue operating, but also have a new database. And so essentially it's going to be able to bring us into the 21st century completely.
Because I get a lot of questions. I'm like, will we get our membership cards? I'm like, yes, eventually, because all those lists have to be pulled manually, and sometimes they're pulled right and sometimes they're not. So I know last year there was a hiccup in our database where some people that paid got another renewal, and they're like, am I not paid? And I'm like, yes, you are. Our database just had a glitch, and so we want to be able to fix that so y'all don't have to deal with that kind of stuff. So
Yeah, it also would be able to, hopefully would be able to provide a lot better timeliness to our counties, because again, like Norley will send out paid and unpaid lists every single month to our counties, and that is, each county currently has to be pulled in an individual manner for paid and unpaid, and I mean it takes almost a full day to pull those lists. And so looking at this, would updating the database would hopefully be able to help make that process for y'all easier and make that more accessible and more timely for you, but also be able to provide you with more information than we can right now. Prime example is our database only holds it holds multiple phone numbers, but it only pulls one phone number on the list. And so technically a lot of people are like, oh, like this person's number's out of date. I'm like, well, it's a home phone number. Not many people have a landline anymore. And so like, while we may have a cell phone, it just doesn't pull both lines, or email addresses, for example. And so quite a few things where we just can't, it's just not quite feasible anymore in the time frame, the world that we live in. It'd be really nice to be able to help out our members a lot more with information, with data, and with actual lists and availability and items there. So really excited about it. We've been shopping databases for quite a while. It was something I looked into when I was membership director and was just not in the budget at the time, and so wanted to make sure that we looked at this for the ability that it provides our members. And so that was where our leadership decided that this money's going to go, is to support that database. So it's probably like way more information than anybody ever needed about our database. But essentially the purpose of it is to update that for our members, to help our members. And so being able to provide things for y'all at a lot quicker rate, or a lot more accessible rate, would be really helpful, really the impetus of this.
Yep. So if you're interested in helping us out, come buy a ticket. So
yeah, stop by the booth at area conferences. You can also pay your membership at area conferences.
Yes.
We'll have a membership booth where the raffle tickets will be sold, and memberships as well. Maybe not be Nora Lee at every single one. It just kind of depends on workload and what else she is doing that time. But we will have somebody at that membership booth at all the area conferences, and so that way you're able to pay your membership, pay your raffle ticket. You can pay via card, cash, or check. We just say if it was a card, like it'll be when we get back to the office. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, you can pay. There's no limit to the number of tickets you can buy. If you're feeling lucky, maybe you can just buy one and win. If you're like me and you never win anything, maybe we need to buy a few more. So those are available. Reach out to us. If you would like to put your name on a ticket, give us a call. We'd love to be able to help you with that. We appreciate the support for sure of that program and of that goal for the Cattlemen's.
And if you were at Area 3 and Area 4 and just didn't realize what it was, call us, and we'll put your name down. So
correct. Yes, we can definitely do that for you as well.
We'll put you in.
Yeah, so with that, I mean, we've reminded everybody to RSVP for your conferences if you have not already, so I'll do that one more time. Also, if you have not paid your membership, or if you're not sure if you've paid your membership, one, you'll be getting a renewal card soon in the mail if you have not. But if you're not sure and you want to check before then, you can give us a call at the office as well. We can help you out with that. You can pay your dues online. I will specify that March is the last month that you will receive the Cattle Business Magazine if you have not paid your dues. So if you don't pay in the month of March, you will not receive the ACB in April. And so that will be my warning there for everybody.
Yep. And if you've already paid and got a renewal notice, just call me. Like I said, flukes happen, or if you've paid it.
And sometimes the mails.
If you paid at area conference,
Yeah, it overlaps.
Well, I've already pulled a list for this week, so you might be on there. Just ignore it if you know you've paid it. So.
Yep. Yeah, sometimes the lists just overlap. But yeah, if you have questions, just give us a call. So that's what we're here for. We're here to help you and answer your questions. So reach out to us. We're happy to help however we can. So with that, don't forget to follow us on social media.
Follow us on social media. Subscribe to our newsletter. Like our podcast on everywhere. So.
Yeah,
all the things.
We really appreciate it. We know this episode was a little bit longer, but I really want to talk about area conferences because it's an exciting time. A lot of people, maybe new members, don't understand what it is, or returning members don't know that, hey, there's something different, there's something to expect. So be sure to attend, be there at 5 o'clock when the doors open, so that way you can go and see and visit with the vendors. We hope to see you across the state this month. We hope to give you a delicious steak dinner. And I've heard good things about them so far.
Oh, yeah. And if you call Monday or Tuesday, let it ring completely, because it rings here first and then it rings to my cell phone. So if it takes a while, let it, and hopefully I can answer it. If we're in a spot we can answer it, we'll answer it. So
Yep.
Or leave a voicemail if I don't. If we're like in a 10 building, please leave me a voicemail.
Yeah, there was in fact no service at Area 3 conference inside the building.
Yep.
So yeah. Somebody was like, I called you. I was like, I did not get it. I'm sorry. So we appreciate it. We appreciate you listening for episode, I had to check, episode 7 of the Arkansas Cattle Business Podcast. We really enjoy just being able to share and give an update with y'all. So thanks for tuning in.
Sure. Yeah. Hope to see y'all in the coming weeks.
Yeah, we'll see you soon for a steak dinner.
See y'all later. This is the Arkansas Cattle Business Podcast, your trusted source for all things cattle in the natural state.